Hello students, welcome to English with Edith tutorial, and in today's lesson we are focusing on pronominal items, specifically focusing on the reciprocal and reflexive forms. This is a vital part of the syllabus that tests your understanding of mutual action and action that reflects back on the subject. Let's begin. We are starting with the reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronoun shows a sense of symbiotic reciprocity. For example, you do it to me, I do it to you. It's a pronoun. They are pronouns that express mutual relationship, and they are just two in number. That's each other and one another. Now let's know when to use each other and when to use one another. Use each other when exactly two people or things are involved. For example, the newly married couple love each other dearly. We use each other because the couple involved are just two, the husband and the wife. But if the people involved or the things involved are more than two, use one another. For example, Mr. Adams's 4 children love one another. So it's wrong to say Mr. Adams's 4 children love each other. Don't forget that for 2 people, use each other. For 3 or more people or things, use one another. If there is no mutual action flowing from the people involved or the things involved, do not use either of these pronouns. Spot the error in this sentence. Look at the sentence. At Adam's party, the 10 guests enjoyed themselves. Is the use of themselves here correct? Option A, yes, it is correct. Option B, no, it should be each other. Option C, no, it should be one another. Think carefully before moving to the next slide. Consider whether there is a mutual action flowing between the guests. Right? The answer is option A, and that is themselves is correct here. Why is themselves correct? Themselves does not show reciprocity. It means each person was particular about his or her own enjoyment, not about anyone else. Each guest enjoyed him or herself. They enjoyed themselves. This is different from reciprocal meaning where person A acts toward person B and person B acts toward person A. So the correct thing to say is the 10 guests enjoy themselves, meaning each person enjoyed his or her own experience. Each other. This would mean each guest was enjoying the other guest. Only use each other or one another when the action genuinely flows between the people involved. Don't forget this. Let's look at pronominal item 2, reflexive pronoun. All reflexive pronouns end in self or selves. When you have a sentence where the subject is he, the reflexive pronoun becomes himself. When it is she, the reflexive pronouns become herself. When it is it, the reflexive pronoun becomes itself. When it is I, the reflexive pronoun becomes myself. When it is we, the reflexive pronoun becomes ourselves. Notice that we did not say ourself. We changed the F towards VES. Ourselves. When the subject is you, the reflexive pronoun becomes yourself or yourselves. When it is they, the reflexive pronoun becomes themselves, not their self. Never you use their self. There is no word like their selves. Let's quickly look at the rules, the special rules guiding the use of reflexive pronouns. When you have a sentence where the subject is one, use oneself and not himself. For example, one needs to believe in oneself to succeed, not one needs to believe in himself to succeed. That's wrong. Rule 2, group including you. When you're talking about a group that includes you, you should use ourselves. Example, we ourselves are responsible for this. We use ourselves because you are included. Rule 3, group excluding you, use themselves, they themselves. Example, they themselves admitted the mistake. Rule 4, non-living things, use itself. For non-living things, you should always use itself. Example, the machine switched itself off. Rule 5, never start with reflexive. Never you begin a sentence with a reflexive pronoun. For example, myself and Marianne are friends. That's wrong. It should be Marianne and I are friends. Do not, I repeat, do not begin a sentence with a reflexive pronoun. Now let's know the difference between yourselves and yourself. The one with the VS and the one that ends with just F. Yourselves. It is used when addressing more than one person. Sentence refers to a group that includes the person being spoken to alongside others. Use yourselves. Example, you and Angela should help yourselves to the food. Meaning that the group includes you and someone else. That's why we use yourselves. Two or more people are being addressed together. Now, when do we use yourself? Use yourself when addressing one person only. If the sentence refers to Angela alone, only one person is addressed, so use yourself. Example, Angela, you should help yourself to the food. Only one person is being addressed. The choice between yourself and yourselves depends entirely on how many people the pronoun you refers to in that sentence. Unknown gender. When there is an unknown gender in a sentence, what do we use? What should we use? What's the right reflexive pronouns to use? We're going to find out now. When I say gender, I mean the sex of the person being referred to is not known. Do not guess. Do not just use himself. Do not use herself. Use both together. Use himself or herself, because you don't know the gender. You don't know if it's a male. You don't know if it's a female. Examples. Every student should do his or her work himself or herself. Because the student, you don't know their gender. Example 2. A good leader does not praise himself or herself unnecessarily. The good leader could be a male, it could be a female. The gender is not known. That's why the right reflexive pronoun to use is himself and herself together. Let's look at the last example here. If anyone finds the missing item, he or she should return it himself or herself. If anyone here means that the gender is not specified. We don't know who the anyone refers to here. It could be a male, it could be a female. Because we don't know, we don't need to start guessing by just using himself or just using herself alone. We use himself and herself together. This rule avoids gender bias and grammatical error. In formal writing and JAMB questions, himself or herself is the expected correct answer when gender is unspecified. Note, in formal modern usage, themselves is sometimes used for unknown gender, but for JAMB purposes or for exam purposes, always use himself or herself. Is this clear? Let's do a quick summary of what we've learned today. So for reciprocal pronouns that involve just two people, we use each other. When it involves more than two people, we use one another. And we don't use their selves also. There is nothing like their self, it is themselves. Never use themselves for reciprocal meaning. When there is no mutual relationship or mutual action flowing from the two subjects or people involved, do not use reciprocal pronoun. Rather, you use themselves. Never write their self. I've said this before. Let's look at some reflexive pronouns. All reflexive pronouns end in self or selves. For one, when the subject is one, you use oneself. Non-living things, you use itself. When the gender is not known, you use himself or herself. For group that includes you, use we ourselves. That exclude you, use they themselves. You plus others, use yourselves. If it's you alone, you use yourself. Never start a sentence with a reflexive pronoun. Don't forget that their self is wrong. Their selves, it is themselves. Ourself without changing the F to VS is wrong also. There is nothing like ourself. It is ourselves. Also, there is nothing like his self. It is what? Himself. Right, so we've come to the end of today's lesson. See you in our next class. Bye bye.